The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Barrow, Alaska, on your new fire apparatus, job number 31651. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start down at the front bumper area. Underneath the front bumper, you'll find two chromed open-ended tow hooks. Moving up from that location on the passenger and driver side, you'll find dual air horns. Moving to the center of the apparatus, you'll find an electrical outlet. Moving to the very center of the apparatus, you'll find your emergency siren and PA speaker. Moving up onto the top of the bumper, you'll find a tubbed hose storage location. And moving all the way to the driver's side, you'll find your mechanical bell. Moving up onto the face of the apparatus, on the outer edges, you'll find turn indicators. Moving just inward of that location is the headlight cluster. The low beam is on the outer edge and the high beam is on the inner. Moving up from that, you'll find your turn indicator on the next cluster up. And then you'll also find an emergency warning light. Moving all the way across the top windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers across your 3-piece seamless windshield. And then moving further up, you'll find your running lights. There are 5 of those on the brow of the apparatus. And then moving all the way up to the top, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Let's take a look at the side of the apparatus. On the side of the bumpers, you'll find emergency warning lights. Just underneath the bumper, you'll find the drain for the front tubbed storage area. And then moving once again to the side, you'll find that marker or turn indicator. Here's some close-ups of those images that we just talked about. You have a 20 amp exterior plug with a cover on it. Inside a swiveled 1.5 inch. Let's take a look at the side of the apparatus. You'll find your auto charging system. Just beneath that, you'll find the shore inlet. This is going to be a 120 VAC 20 amp plug auto eject. And then next to it, you'll find your engine heater. Let's go move to the pump panel area. Talk a little bit about some of the warning areas. First, this is a warning sticker regarding pressurized caps and associated hazards while under pressure when removing them. Moving to the right, this is writing on the apparatus. And then also moving to the right, this is a do not mix different types and brands of foams. Moving to the left-hand side of your image, you'll find the number 1 discharge. The eagle with the Pierce logo American flag. This is your large diameter intake. And moving just down beneath that, you'll find your 2.5 inch auxiliary inlet. Moving all the way to the right, this is going to be your draft foam inlet. And all the way to the very bottom, you'll find your discharge drains. They are color-coded and also labeled. Some close-ups once again of the number 1 and number 3 driver's side discharge. And all the way to the right, the draft foam tank inlet and also lever. Auxiliary 2.5 inch. Associated drains. The very top of the apparatus on each side, you'll find your water tank indicator. Moving to the very first compartment past the cab, we're going to find 2 upper lays and 2 lower lays. The 2 upper lays are your cross lays. There is a latch in between the 2 of those to remove that. And at the very bottom, you'll find also labeled 2 lower lays at this point. These are all speed lays that can be pulled out and loaded on the ground or put back into the apparatus. And then once again, there is a hazard label here regarding, or a warning label regarding tangled hoses that come out. These are the 2 latches that allow you to release the ABS plastic lay. Generalized view here of the side of your pump panel. We'll talk about that independently. First, in the upper left-hand corner, corner, only trained personnel should operate this equipment. That's a warning label. Just beneath that, you'll find your Pierce minimum maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 psi and the associated GPMs and RPMs. At the very top, you'll find an indicator light. If this light is lit, it means your pump is properly engaged. Below that, you'll find in green your foam A tank. Moving to the right, you'll find your master intake and master discharge. And just beneath that, you'll find your test port gauge for vacuum and pressure. Moving all the way to the very far right of the image, you'll find your Pcm Fault. There is an amber indicator and also an audible speaker below. Moving down to the lower section, you'll find all of your discharges. First, you have your front discharge, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and also your driver's rear discharge. They are all color-coded to the discharge port, and they also are indicated in red that they have foam capability. These are also locking valves. To the right, you'll find your Pierce pressure governor. Let's move down to the next section. In the upper left-hand corner, you'll find your panel gauge heater. This is an automatic heater. Moving to the right, you'll find your Husky 3 foam system control panel. And to the right, you'll find your primer for the fire pump. This does require that you at least operate at 1,000 RPMs while priming. Moving to the left, you'll have a tank fill recirculating line, tank to pump, and also your deluge discharge. Your apparatus is equipped with an electronic valve. The number 2 discharge on the passenger side is electronic. This is the Acron valve here. Just beneath that valve, you'll find your instructions for the foam system and also Husky 3 foam system specifications. Moving to the right, you're going to find your passenger side rear discharge. And then further to the right, you'll find your passenger side rear discharge outboard. One is in and one is out. They are clearly identified and once again also color coded. Let's move further down onto the pump panel to the next lower third. In the upper left hand corner, you'll find once again a discharge or a output for your 20 amp. Moving to the right, you'll find your primer drain. You also have a Motorola speaker. We'll talk a little bit behind what's behind the access door. And at the very bottom, you'll find all of your drains associated, color-coded, and also labeled. Let's move up to the very top. Once again, let's cover some of those items in close-ups. Once again, minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 psi. Master intake, master discharge, test gauge ports. And then as we look on the right hand side, your vehicle is equipped with a generator, and this is the amps for line 1 and 2 and also the mode for operation. On the left hand side, looking at the pump panel, you'll find your TFT monitor operation station. And also just beneath that, you'll find your compartment heater and also diesel heater. Let's start in the upper left hand corner first with an amber indicator, which is currently not lit, for your check engine. You also have a digital readout for your RPMs. Moving to the right, you'll find your stop engine, which is a red indicator. Just beneath that, you'll find all of your pressures associated with fluids. Moving down in the blue section, water indicator. You also have just beneath that a pressure control and RPM control, throttle mode or reset, and then you also have your throttle. Right to increase, push the button for idle. Behind that compartment we mentioned earlier, this is going to be your manual pump shift override. And just behind that, you'll find the instructions on the left-hand side for filling for your foam system. Also, there's a placard located for G1, which stands for your generator. These are the associated breakers for that. Moving to the upper section of this compartment, you'll find the head for your Motorola radio system. Also, just inside this compartment, you'll find your automatic power transfer relay. And moving down to the left-hand side near the shelf, you'll find all of your continuous power supply ratings and breaker information. Let's move to the exterior of the vehicle. Let's start with the small compartment just in front of the rear tire. You'll find 3 SCBA bottle locations in addition with storage straps.
Moving to the rear of the tire, you'll find your ultra low sulfur diesel fuel. That's going to be the silver cap. As you flip that, you'll find that there is the blue DEF 4.5 US gallon tank. Moving further back to the next compartment, you'll find adjustable shelving. Also to the rear section of your compartment, you'll find at the very bottom SCBA or air bottle storage. And just beneath that, you'll find your wheel chock storage location. We'll take a brief look at the side of the apparatus. On the upper sections, you'll find side-facing floodlights or scene lights. You'll also find a fold-down step for accessing up onto the hosebed cover area. Let's take a look at the rear of the apparatus. On the left-hand side or driver's side, you have an extended drop-down ladder. On the left also and on the right, you'll find your cluster for brake, turn, and reverse. And then you'll also find additional grab handrails for gaining access above ground level. On the very bottom, on the left-hand side, you'll find a pull-out drop-down step. As we focus in on the rear section of the apparatus, you will find some warning indicators. First in the upper left, a warning for pressurized caps, associated hazards while those are under pressure while removing them. Also some warning regarding riding on the apparatus and hose entanglement. Let's start in the upper corner here, or center I should say. This is going to be a rear-facing floodlight. As we move down from that location, this is your camera, which is displayed inside the dash area, driver's side. At the very bottom, you'll find your 20 amp exterior plug. And let's go ahead and move to the opposite side. You'll also see that you have your ladder rack control. This is the power for lowering your ladder rack. At the very bottom, you'll find a tow or attachment point. And then you'll also find LED lights across the very bottom for perimeter lighting. Let's go ahead and move to the rear section of your apparatus. On the roll-up door, you'll find an adjustable shelf on the top, LED lighting on the side, and at the very bottom, a pull-out style shelf. Moving around the corner here to the side, same thing. You have an adjustable shelf on the top section, and then you also have pull-out shelf on the bottom. Behind this polished aluminum, you'll find the actuator locking mechanism for your ladder rack. There is also one located just in the front. On the side of the apparatus, we'll find additional bottle storage in the rear section of the tire, and also in the front section, you'll find an additional 3 sections for bottle storage. Let's move up to the mid section here. You'll find your tool rack. This is also a latch on the right, but also on the left-hand side, just when this door is open, there is a release mechanism to allow you to restore it to its position of storage. Moving to the next compartment forward, you'll find 2 adjustable shelves and also a pull-out shelf on the bottom. Let's go ahead and review some of the things here. First, this is your cab lift for the front section of your cab. Please make sure you heed the caution and danger label. And also in the very front here, we're going to find additional warning labels here for riding on the side of the apparatus, and once again, pressurized caps and the associated hazards while those are under pressure. This is your cab lift. Once again, there are instructions on the left to raise and then also on the right to lower. Moving down, you'll find your number 2 passenger side. Remember, this is the electronic, and then the override down in the lower corner. Auxiliary side, 2.5 inch. Moving down, associated drains. You can see also that your pump is fully enclosed for weather. You can see this also by looking underneath. Your pump is fully enclosed, and there are also access doors. Here is your logo. General view of the side of the apparatus, we're focusing on that ladder rack and the 2 actuators. Moving up onto the top, you can find you have a completely covered hose bed, in addition with your 14 and 24 foot ladder. This is your foam fill for tank A. And then as we move just in front of that, you'll find your water fill location. And then you'll also see the yellow indicators, which are diamonds for visual indicators at night. This is going to be for a tank fill location. This is also your hydraulic indicator. There is a sight gauge on the left-hand side of this. And then you'll also find your foam hydraulic oil reservoir. This is the fill location for it. Generalized view. That sight gauge was once again for your Harrison generator. And then at the very top, this is the same control panel down at the lower section that you see for your TFT. This is going to be the fill location for your ladder rack. At the very top, you'll find these do not step in this area. It's very slippery, and also it is not enforced for walking on the top of the cab. Generalized view just inside the cab, you'll find warning labels on the left-hand side. General seat configuration, you have 4 forward-facing seats and 2 rear-facing seats. Next to the 2 forward-facing seats, you'll find the control for your exterior lights. These are the control mechanisms for that. Let's take a look down at the forward-facing section. This is going to be your access door for getting access for daily checks for oil and transmission. And on the left and right-hand side, you'll find 2 12-volt USB-style plugs. Moving up onto the top left-hand side, you'll see this. I have an additional image of this. This is the air compressor for your brake system. This is your access door once again. There is a light on the inside. General view here of the cab looking forward. You can see on the lower left-hand side, I've got a little bit better image of that. This is going to be your battery charging system, and then also next to it, this is going to be your air compressor for your brake system to maintain air within the system. This is also going to be your main unit radio. Looking up at the cab area, you'll find a portable handheld light. Generalized view of the rear section of your apparatus. Let's go ahead and take a look at the front section once again. First, on the right, you'll find your fill location for your windshield wipers. You'll also see on the left-hand side you have an air horn button and then also 12-volt access. Let's go ahead and look overhead in the officer seat. You'll find you have a Jensen heavy-duty all-weather band radio in addition with CD and Bluetooth. This red indicator is going to be if you have any doors open. This will indicate that you have doors open and not to move the apparatus. This is your Pierce seatbelt, red indicating someone is in the seat and not buckled, green indicating that someone's in the seat but they are buckled. This is directly in the center overhead of the officer and driver position. Down in the front driver position, you'll find an air inlet. This is the step well going into the cab. You'll see on the left-hand side, you've got additional warning labels here regarding the use of seatbelts and ear protection and also riding on the vehicle. Moving up from this location on the dash is where you're going to find your battery switch in silver, all of your tech modules, and then all of your regen switches. Moving to the right-hand side on the floorboard, you'll find your brake treadle and accelerator. And as we look to the cab, you'll also find your manufactured by Pierce. This is going to be the informational placard. This has a variety of different information, including your gross vehicle weight rating. It also has chassis information, the type. It also has your VIN number and all of your fluid capacities. On the lower left-hand corner, you're going to find your push-up for those floodlights in the rear and also the bell. Moving up from that left-hand side of the operator, you'll find a pump pressure and all your tank visions. On the right-hand side, you're going to find your main mirror and convex mirror controls. You'll also find on the left-hand side your ignition and start switch, and also on the right-hand side, emergency master and headlight control. In the center, you'll find your dash cluster consisting of your RPMs and miles per hour, in addition with your transmission oil, DEF level, water temperature. Moving to the right, voltage, fuel, front and rear air. There are also informational diagnostic information in the center. Moving to the right, you'll find the high idle and the green indicator to engage the high idle. To the right, generalized here on the dash area, you'll find your push button dash, and at the very top, your Pierce MUX system. This has a variety of information, including seatbelt information and also fluid information. To the right of that system, you'll find the push to apply fluid onto the front windshield wiper and also windshield wiper control. Moving from left to right, you'll find your engine brake on and off, high, medium, and low for the engine brake, off-road traction in green, stationary OK to pump and roll, water pump, and also your foam system. Moving down from that location, you're going to find your system parking brake, pull to apply, push to release, and also your Allison transmission pad. Climate control is in the upper right-hand corner, and just beneath that, difficult to see, you'll see the 12-volt access. Generalized view here, looking overhead of the operator. We'll talk about those components next. First, on the very far left, you're going to find your height, length, gross vehicle weight rating of your apparatus. Moving to the left, you'll find the emergency master, air horn, mirror heat, perimeter lighting, your generator PTO, and also your load manager. These are all rocker style switches. They're indicating that the green light indicates that it is on. Moving just to the right, you'll find the driver's side scene light, passenger side or driver's side flood, passenger side scene, passenger side flood, rear scene lights, and then your tailboard scene light. Moving further over, you'll find your wheel-in control for your siren. On the A pillar, you'll find the VIN number for your apparatus. Congratulations, Barrow Alaska, on your new apparatus, job number 31651. If you have any further questions regarding the content of this video, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Congratulations and good luck. Thank you.